The Wizard Tower, an incredibly powerful magical structure, which legends say a wizard who passed through this area pulled a rock from the very earth and carved it using his abilities into his home, a location where he could store all of his magical and powerful artifacts, where he could also rest his head for the evening and wait for morning to arise, not to mention the incredible view that he can look out and see the wonderful world in which he now lives and can call his home. You bestowed the smallest bit of that magic on me, so I can help you create a wizard tower of your very own. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need for this build is just a nice, clear, open area. In here, I've assembled all the blocks that I need for the main structure of the wizard tower. First, we're going to start off with our cobble deep slate, tuff, and cobblestone. First, want to start with the basic shape of the wizard tower. I like to do a three wide circle. So 3 on each side. I guess it's more than 3 wide, but 3 on each side on the circle. And then build it up 5 additional blocks, so a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tall. Then we'll just build that up all the way around. There we go. Once that's built up, we've got the nice basic shape of the wizard tower. Now it's time for a little bit of texturing. Kind of around this second layer, so 3 blocks up. You can just kind of start placing just kind of sporadically a little bit of a tuff around. But I don't want to go to the bottom, otherwise it'll lose kind of that depth to it. Just get a nice gradient. I like the tuff too because it's similar in texture and in color, so it's really not that harsh of a texture, and you just kind of go random with it. Around there, in fact, I put a little too much here. I want to keep a little bit of that deep slate. And I think that looks pretty good for that layer. So then just fill up the rest up here with, replace all of this deep slate with cobblestone. Go around, you can make a little bit of adjustments there, like that's very straight. We'll break up that a little bit. I can bring the tuff up by 1 over here. Just kind of sporadically put it around. Our basic texturing. Sometimes it helps to step back too and just take a little look. Give it a nice 360 spin. Over here, the tuff needs to go up a little higher. It's a little too far down, so we'll plop that one. In fact, I think that one block does it. So I like that dropping down there. Like a little wave here. Let's bump up that deep slate 1 there. Bump the tuff up as well. 1 there. And that looks textured. That looks good. I like that. Well, now we've got a bit of a wizard tube. So I think it needs to be broken up a little bit. Just make it a little less uniform and bring out just a little bit more depth to it, especially on these sides. And at this point right now, if you're one of those people who really like things being all nice and uniform and symmetrical, go ahead and take that part of your brain and just shove it into a dark corner for a moment here. Kind of like I'm going to do with this cow. And Mr. Cow, I'll give you some time to think about what you've done. Nailed it. Don't worry, I'm not that cruel. I'm going to build him a home. My goodness, this cow's house is nicer than mine is. Where were we? Alright, looking at this again after that cow-rific journey. I don't actually like these bits that we've added. Get rid of them. I don't like it. Instead, we're going to come and add a roof to it. Just kind of go around these edges. Clean up the stray blocks. Nice little roof. And we're going to end up hollowing out this inside anyway, so I'll just leave it like that. And from here, instead of adding to the outside, because it's going to make it look very chunky if we did that, we're actually going to remove a couple blocks. We've got this here, we could just kind of fill in anywhere that would break down. I like that. I was going to add a couple down here. Make it look like it's kind of come out of the ground right here. There's an extra little spot there. This will drop that down by 1. Break this down by 2. That's a little too much there. Do that. Throw a nice cobble block right there. And again, the bottom, I want to make this look just a little nicer. Look a little bit thicker, but not too thick. And as I said before, don't worry too much about it being perfectly symmetrical, because that's part of the beauty of it. It's just going to be a little more natural looking, because in nature, a lot of things aren't symmetrical. There's some things that are, but most things aren't. Give it a nice, more natural, almost organic look. Just going to kind of throw some sporadic blocks around. And don't forget, it's always good to take a step back and just look around. Okay, these are going to look... Actually, that looks good, and you can tell just how flat these sides are. especially compared to this one. It's kind of been shaved down a little bit. We'll come remove that. Drop a little bit of this. We'll keep the tough like that. And finish out these last two sides with a little bit of that. I like that. You know what? I know what it needs. Alright, we got some cobblestone walls. So we can just come and fill in some of these just to make it... Ooh, gotta fill in the gap. Perfect. Fill in some of these just to make it fade just a little bit nicer. Because some of these spots are kind of sharp edges. So we can just kind of come around and fill in a couple. I want some of that. Actually, I like that block there. But I don't like that one. That one there. That there. Gotta fill in this block to make it look natural. We've got some deep slate as well, so we can come and make some of... fill out a little bit of these edges here. So this side's looking a little bit flat, but I actually want this to be the entrance, so I'm just gonna mark that like that, and suddenly it doesn't look flat anymore. And now it's time to add a roof onto it. So I've got all the blocks you'll need for the roof right here. Got all the copper, throw that in there, and endstone bricks. So I want to have a nice 3x3 like standing area at the top. So on these corners here, I'm gonna build up just 2 blocks. Doesn't need to be a big, doesn't need to be a tall roof. Ooh, we could use let's throw that there. Actually, I like that. I like that a lot. It'll tie both the top and the bottom together. All right, at this point, the roof is going to be the same starting shape as the base was. A nice 1 diagonal there, followed by 3, 1 diagonal, and 3. Perfect circle. Fill that in, and now it's time to shape it. All right, so for the roof, I want to do almost like a nice wizard hat shape that kind of comes to a point right about here. So to do that, I'm just going to start building up on all the sides and kind of make it come to a point to the top. You kind of throw the blocks, and you can just start out throwing the blocks around. It's going to be not perfectly centered. I want to give it a little bit of character. So the wizard hat's going to kind of come up to a point over here. And this front is going to be like leaning back just a little bit towards the top here. And that's looking a little chunky at the moment, so we'll build that up. And you know what? Since it's leaning back like this, I'm actually going to extend this side just a little bit to almost look like it's not on straight. We'll move this end back, but not quite too far. We'll shift it just a little bit. Okay, I'm liking the shape of that. Just got to build up the back just a little bit more since this is where the majority of it is. All right, put enough blocks on, and I think it's too big now. Yeah, it's too big. It's overshadowing the base of the build right now, so this side, it's 3. We want to lean back, so we'll throw it back just a little bit here. Build that up, and now it's time to step back and take a look. Okay, this is the front. How does it look from the front? Very uniform. I think you need to shave a little bit more on this side and kind of build up... You know what, let's move the point right here. Kind of build up that. Move just a little bit here. A little bit there. Looks decent over here. Looks decent over here, except for that. And the front still looks a little uniform. But actually, we're going to fix that. So it kind of comes up, you can see a nice angle over here, and then it almost isn't quite straight, but it almost comes straight down here. Now that we're happy with the basic shape, it's time to add a little bit more texture to this, similar to what we did with the base of the wizard tower. So to add this texturing, we've got the different kinds of weathered copper. And I'd like to make it all come to kind of a weathered like hotspot, as if the sun had been beating down on this the most, so it's going to be all weathered. So we'll start with 3 blocks there, and then just kind of go around, making a nice weathered gradient. So everything that touches those most weathered ones are going to change to this more oxidized, and then even further to this one. Which, since this is the most oxidized part, that means this side's going to be the least oxidized, the farthest away. So once we get to that point, I'm just going to leave it all nice and shiny. In fact, I think I went one too many over here. We'll throw those back on there like that. Oxidize these. And I need one more right there. And that looks pretty good. I think that the non-oxidized needs to be a little more prevalent still. Throw some of that and just kind of push this back a little bit. In fact, we'll move that like that. And yeah, you can see it just work its way down and work its way around that way. And over here, it's all nice and polished. This one hasn't quite made it to the oxidizing point. And that's okay. So the bottom is all nice and shiny. We'll leave that, actually. And there we go. There's a nice, basic wizard tower shape. So right here, I've got most of the blocks we're going to need for the interior. First things first, I'm going to start with the floor. And for the floor in here, I really like these dark oak trapdoors. It just makes a really nice pattern. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Now I want to keep a little bit of the randomness on the walls, but we need to add a roof. For the roof, we're going to put it right about here. I'm going to use some oak logs. And I like the grain of it all going the same direction. Let's replace those ones that ended up a little weird. Replace that. Replace that one. I'm going to check that from the outside. Come on. That way. Perfect. All right, did that do anything weird? That block we replaced? Yes. Yes, it did. Oh, that's why. Okay. That needs to be a 3x3. We'll fix that. Much better. Much, much better. So now with these little gaps here, this looks like a really good place to just have a lantern hanging for the roof. Nice little gap. That's a perfect use for it. Now we need a way to get up to the top here. So something I like to do is to use these spruce trapdoors, and you can just stack them on top of each other to make a nice ladder. There we go, and then open them all up. Get rid of the extras. Throw a ladder on. Remember to hold shift. And there we go. A perfect way to get up top. And actually, I like the idea. What if we made a secret room? We could totally make a secret room up top here. Since this is just solid copper, we can extend this ladder up even further, all the way up to the top, and just hide our mystical goodies in the upper room. While we're up here, what if we threw a couple of light sources up here? Just throw a couple of lanterns hanging. We'll have this one just hang right there. I think that looks good. A nice, perfectly lit wizard tower. And now you can take all of your magical items and trusty bed. Over here looks like a great place to put a shelf. We can throw 3 chains here to here. Throw the slabs on that top part. And a perfect place we can throw magical sea light. Then over here, we need a nice place for our enchanter, our magical time dial, and our artifact finder. It's looking good, but I think you need a couple plants. Back here, we're going to throw a decorated pot, and if you put a pot inside of it, you can actually plant plants in it. Isn't that so cool? With the dangerous one in the corner. And a nice blue one right there. It never hurts to have a place to write down all of your new spells. And just like that, your very own wizard tower is complete and ready to aid you in your magical journeys throughout your Minecraft world. Complete with secret basement. Oh yeah.